Ooh, can I see me? Okay. Test one, test two, test three. Simply deep. Can you hear me, brother? If you can hear me, you ain't gonna respond. But if you do, say yes, I can hear you, brother. And then I'm gonna dive in. I had to motivate myself because I was kind of like exhausted. I had to lay down and take a little rest. And I thought about, thank you, appreciate it. Then I thought about, I have it's topics, I have tons of them. But what do I really want to talk about? What do I feel passionate at this time? At first I was going to talk about love, uh, relationships, friendship, possession. And so you know what? I said I'm gonna just schedule that for a different day, and I'm gonna talk about something that Nick Love came up with a while ago, and I've been putting off, and I had to think about with the appropriate title. Hello, Neon Eyes. It's always a pleasure to see you. Um, and it was, I just hate certain words because certain words are just so ugly. And people like to use them, but me, I don't like ugly terms. I guess I do. But I, I'm always pondering, do I want to do what would be considered a clickbait cliche title? But I don't. So I just thought this would be a great dialogue to have. Why are unique names a hindrance to employment of Black people? Because the term ghetto, even though it's more accepted overall, people know exactly what you're talking about. Say if I say ghetto, um, but it's kind of, to me, is derogatory. Certain terms are just derogatory, and they're meant to diminish and belittle, and people don't realize it. So, like the term nappy, I don't really like certain terms. Even though you can take a term and try to make it positive, like the body positive movement. But I want to get into this because I think that if we live in society that we're supposed to treat everybody equal, and we don't have any discrimination, even though everybody discriminates. Um, why is it when somebody comes up with a name that is not considered traditionally normal, when your name isn't Charles, when your name is Boom Shasha or Shaka, you know, why is that a hindrance to employment? And no matter what people want to believe, I'm the type of person to say we live in a system that is class and caste based. And no matter what, people never want to be from the low caste, which is Black people, and people never want to be from the low class, which is poor. And, you know, we equate names to both caste and class. And then when you hear a name that is not normal, that may be an expression of a of a evolving culture. I don't want to get into culture in the scientific sense of it, because people, culture to me, not going scientifically, not going by the algorithm, is a group of people trying to express an identity. Identity, and that can be um, affected by, of course, environment. But just keeping it in the basic sense. And this is me. This is all conjecture. It's not me trying to prove anything. Um, Having a name, but my name is Tyrone, right there. 9 times out of 10, you're going to identify that with a caste and a class. They're going to say, like we say, the term. Think about this: white trash. What does that mean when you say the term white trash? I know some people gonna look at it in a negative sense, but they have a book called White Trash. And what does that mean? When I say white, that puts me in a caste right there, because I look a certain way, because I can be identified by the way that I look. Either I'm good or I'm bad. So that's why they use certain terms like white privilege, and that's why certain terms have such a negative connotation when they can have opposite connotation. Like if somebody says Asian power, they don't look bad on it. If we say Black power, we don't look bad on it. But when you say white power, whoo, it's a lot of because we live in a system overall that people equate to being, well, it is the system. It puts one caste above all, and because of a certain caste is put above all other castes, and even though this is all imaginal, it makes anybody else who's not of the leading, superior, empowered caste, people feel oppressed. And who is anyone to say anything about the way that somebody feels about their how do you say, their truth in their life? So I can't tell somebody that they're not feeling a certain way by what I'm doing or how I feel. If I am in a billionaire boys club and I don't invite you into my billionaire boy club, you're going to feel ostracized. So this goes back to it. I'm going off on a tangent because sometimes I got to build it up to make things make sense. The reason why unique names are a hindrance to employment of Black people is because you know that they're Black. You can't, at least if my name is John Gray and you're an employer, even though people hate to say it, you can forget for a second that you don't like Black people, because a lot of people don't like Black people. You don't want to say it. And listen, if you don't like Black people, that's great for you. There's nothing wrong with you not liking us. You don't have to like us. But see, we live in a world, back in the day, back before the Civil Rights Movement, it was great to say how much you didn't like Black people. You could just hate us. You could just talk about it. It was great. It was accepted. But now hatred, racism, oppression, we got to act like it doesn't exist, but it exists a lot, even though it's imagined. But people feel like that. You can listen. If I don't want to like somebody that's obese, I should be entitled to say that. I should be able to say I don't like obese people, but I don't dislike anyone. But in general, I'm bringing it up because that's what it is. We want to live in a world that people want to act like they don't like you. There's a lot of people that don't like people that are gay. They don't like it, but they don't want to admit it. See, I don't have a problem. You can be gay all you want. You can be gay. We kick it all day, but just don't try to make me gay, because that's not me. But I'm not opposed to you being gay. But there's a lot of people that's like that. There's a lot of people that can't stand you, but now they're going, oh, you sure you're talking about those ugly people? We're talking about those dumbs, Oh, I love them. Black. One of my best friends is Black, and you don't even like Black people. Well, so that's what it is. When you hear a name, and it's Black people, a lot of Black people don't want to be Black. You don't like being Black. You can't stand it, but you want to act like you do. Man, listen. If you don't like Black people, I want you to admit it, and there's nothing wrong with you being a hater of Black. That's you. You don't like us. I can accept that because I'm different than most people. I want people to really admit what it is. I'm not even trying to dive in, but sorry, I just went there a little bit. But it's the truth. A lot of people really discriminate and really are haters and really don't like other people. But we live in a world where we have to be peaceful. We have to be peaceful, and I want everybody to be peaceful. But sometimes you gotta be real to yourself. You have to admit that you don't like something, and this is that you ostracize people based on how they look and their names. You feel that you have a better class, and it's a lot of upper echelon Black people. Oh, there's some. Oh, she named him Don Treza. That's so classless. See, first, Don Treza let you know, because we know it is, that's a Black name, and we're gonna say, okay, most likely the mother and father, if they're married, they're uneducated, and now I know they're Black. But if it takes a lot. So I have to, if I got a name like Don Treza, I got to at least have a Harvard degree for you to not want to. Right there, it's a caveat right there. That name. Oh, let's put it over here in this pile. This is not normal. This is not going to be every day. But I wanted to talk about this because I think that it is what it is. And I know sometimes I'm going to lose people. People are not going to be on that. And I'm not really on, let's go against people. But I'm just saying that's really what it is. That's why. And when I'm done with, I might edit the title now. I shouldn't say unique. I'm going to change it to ghetto, because that way it'd be more explicit about what it is. This is really what it is. People don't, but I wasn't going to do it, but now I'm going to. I don't know what this is. I got a booger in my ass. I mean, somebody knows it's my butt. I got a booger in my ass. My nose is my butt. I'm sorry, but I'm stupid. But but it is what it is. I think that that's why people with ghetto names can't get hired, and why other Black people perceive those types of names as bad. I mean, not everybody. Some people love it, but does it come from your upbringing? Why are some people more likely to name their children a certain thing? And why do so many people feel like, oh, Tyranisha? I can't hire Tyranisha. And it's just crazy. People, when you say you don't see color, um, you know that's a lie, right? You know what brown is. You know what red is. You know that somebody is a dark Mexican, and you know who's a light Mexican. You know who's a light-skinned black person is, and you know who the dark black person is. You see it. So for say you don't see color, it's cool. Uh, but it's not true because you see color, because you do. So I'm going off on a tangent. Sorry, people. Um, I do that sometimes. Sometimes I get caught up in my thoughts and I just say what I think. Um, oh, it's funny when people don't think about things. And somebody always, he said, I used to say America would never elect a man named Barack Obama. I was wrong. But Obama, look at his background. Obama, first, he's half black and half white. So to say that Obama's black without saying that he's white would be a fallacy. And second, he has a elite education. So, and he was promoted through the media. So it wasn't like he was some dude you ain't never heard of before. Obama was working the system and he was selected, come from Harvard. You know, they're never going to select. So they'll tell you, you got to come from an elite class. So that's how people who are ignorant, who have they're illogical, can become president, as long as they fit the caveat. As long as you're married and you have, what do you call it, that popular ism behind you. I don't know. I had to do this. This is not going to be normal. But when people ask me to do a topic, I don't have a problem doing it. And I know this would not be the most popular topic, and I know I probably will lose a lot of people. People are going to not follow me. But I like to talk about everything, and I don't have a problem. If you bring a topic to me, I will talk about it because it's interesting to me. I want to talk about different things. I don't want to talk about just one thing. I'll just dive in. The reason that the ghetto names, ethnic names, are a hindrance to employment is because people don't. They don't want to know that you're different. And once they know that you're different, because we live in a society that's conservative, they will ostracize you. And people don't want to admit that they hate a group of people, but they do. You know, people, as men that hate women, but no, I don't hate women. I love women, but a lot of dudes do. A lot of women that hate men, but no, I don't hate men. And you discriminate for all type of reasons. And you discriminate when anything is different. Oh my God. You know, people don't like thugs, they don't like gangsters, but then they say they do. And people don't like squares and nerds, but then they say they do. Because it's so many different things. I would love to hear what other people have to say about it. And you can say what you want to say, you know, because my thing is always open, and I would love to hear dialogue about it. But it's up for people. And I know this is going to be one that I'm going to have to monitor. So if somebody wants to come on and talk to me, you can email me at charlesgilmore3, and then I will send you a link and we'll talk about it. But if I see anybody says some crazy stuff, then I got to remove you. But I'll always let people come on, and I'm all willing to laugh, and I'm always willing to learn. So you know what? My name, email, I'll drop it in the chat. Feel free to email me and we can get on. I think this is a dangerous topic. What's up, Pam? Because I think that people don't think about it. We live in a society where people really don't want to be honest. And I want people to be honest. I don't want people to not be honest. And I'm not here to shape. A lot of people want to have power. That's really what it is. A lot of people want to have power over other people. A lot of people want to dominate other people and tell them how to think. And anytime you do something that goes against the norm, they're against you. Even though people don't want to believe it, people are free to do what they want to do. But like even Black people overall, even though we're a monolithic group, we are a dynamic monolithic group. Means that if enough people go with the change, then people will go with it. But like, let's talk about miscegenation. Miscegenation wasn't accepted, and it's still from the overall white community is unaccepted. So it's cool to have a friend that's Black, but in general, the majority of white people, I mean, I could be wrong. I would love to be corrected. Seem to be against Black men messing with the beautiful white ladies, and white men. White men been messing with Black women for years, and that's accepted because that's why you see all the movies. That's why you see all the beautiful top tier Black celebrity ladies will have an interracial scene with a white man, but you really won't see. Now, I would love to hear one person say, and this is not an attack, this is just an analysis from what I've seen. How many movies have you ever seen where Denzel Washington kissed Julia Roberts in her prime? You know, you're just not going to see that. And you can Google it, you can look it up. But that comes back to the topic: why are ghetto names a hindrance to employment of Black people? And the reason why is because you don't want to ever have to admit openly is that you don't like Black people. Because if you see the name, then you know they're Black. And then what are you going to, you hire them? And you know that's not the company policy. It's not written, but you know, boom quaka. You can't hire boom quaka. You know, you can't. You know, but if his name is Tom Jones without a high school diploma, oh, that's cool. We can hire or Chad Peterson. You know, we can hire that. So that's really what it is. And I would love for anybody that has a just opposite view. I don't know if this is words. You know, I like to make up words sometimes because it's fun. At disposing, opposing view. I would love to hear it. And that's really what it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. Now, I'm usually on some love stuff. This is still about love, but I had to bring a little pain. So some people don't want uncomfortable topics, but there's nothing that makes me feel uncomfortable. It's nothing that I can't talk about. I can talk about anything with anyone, anytime. And I don't mind it because I love to hear other people's views. Even if my view could be wrong, I would love for somebody to say, Charles, Black names are not a hindrance to employment. But I forgot, what was the celebrity name? I can remember her name. Raven Simone, and she said something, and then she had to go back to it. So I just find a lot of stuff crazy, and I am okay. I see an email. You know, I'm not good at multitasking. I'm pretty good, but I suck. So I'm like both. I'm like, I can do it, but I'm focused. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and send my brother, beautiful Benzo Lee, the link, and he can get on in here and tell me his thoughts. But for me, I'll let anyone get on. I really don't have a problem. I normally would drop it on the chat, but I figure if I drop it in the chat and somebody who just doesn't like Black you, come on and say, I hate you, then I gotta edit it, and I don't want to edit it like that, because I'm lazy. I don't want to do all that. You know, I want to let's just talk. So me, I'm simple, brother. Simple. Hold on. I just made a mistake, but I'm working on it. Here we go. Got it now. You know, Charles is a little slow. One day I'll get better. One day I won't like look at it, you know, try to talk to people. And, you know, I see other people that's real great at it. I'm sorry. My man O'Shea's pretty great. He'd be like, hey, what's going on? I can't do that, man. I be focused, dude. I mean, you know, I'm Black obsessive. Hey, Ruby, the singularity. I would love to hear anybody's thoughts. I said my little, I got on my little podium and I loquaciously pontificated my monologue first. But anybody who wants to jump in, you are more than free. I will email you the link, Ruby, if you would like to get on. I'm different. I don't hate anyone. As long as you are not a negative to me, I'm not negative to you. So you're more than welcome, but I'm just going to filter this one just a little bit, because I don't want people coming here and say some crazy stuff. I don't want some haters, you know, that don't like. It's cool if you don't like us as a group, if you don't like Black people as a group, and you want to talk, as long as you're not disrespectful, by all means, you can get on. But if I feel you got out of pocket, you know, this can become real heated, and I will shut it down. So my email is charlesgilmore3@gmail. Hit me up. You know, I don't care. We could talk. I just think what I think. I think that we live in a world that people discriminate, but we want to act like we don't discriminate anymore. And people want to be able to plead the fifth. And if you act like you're crossing, if you act like you have any type of in touch ethnic love, then you will be ostracized by the group. So it's crazy how you can wear pressed hair. Like, it's crazy when they go to sisters and you can't wear that afro anymore, and that's so disrespectful. Why can't you wear it? Well, it doesn't tote our company line. But why doesn't it tote your company line? If we love ethnic identity and we love naturalness of people, why would you ever tell somebody that he can't wear a fro, or roll or braids, because that's a Black tradition or African tradition? Is that what it is? I don't know. But I would love to hear anybody's thoughts, and I just don't understand. This is a dialogue. I say what I say. I'm telling you, just for me doing a topic like this. Oh my God, Charles? Did he say this? I thought he was one of us. No, I am one of you. Meaning I love all people, but no matter what you tell me, I grew up black. I grew up in a black household. I grew up. I've been disrespected. I've been called the N-word. I've had eggs thrown at me. So don't ever get it twisted. No matter how much I love people that are not from my group, I love my group. And I'm, if it went down, I'm always trying to promote positivity with my group first. But I don't want to ostracize other people. I don't want you to feel that I don't love you. Self-love is everything, and you got to love yourself. So I learned a long time ago to love my sisters, love my brothers, and I grew up. You know what? I know. Even in my family, and I'm not trying to put too much family type stuff out, but I know ladies that think that their names were more masculine and they hated it. So even though it may seem feminine, it was like, why did they name me this? Why didn't I get a more girl name? Why didn't you name me this? And it hurt them. And that's the issue, because if society is so powerful that you can hate yourself just by what they do. And that's why my mother loves the Black Panther movie. And she's watched it probably 100 times. But you know why she watched it? Because I don't think she's ever seen a movie before that had Black superhero and Black people with technology that are powerful. And even though, to me, it's a lot of imagery in there that's not super positive to Black people, because you can't trust other Black people. Look who your enemy is. It's like that. But overall, the movie still shows that Black people could achieve. And I say you need to watch the Infinity War and watch Civil War. She don't want to watch none of that stuff, because I see she watched Thor before you watch, because it's gonna get back to she don't want to watch none of that stuff. She just want to stay in the Black Panther, and that tells you a lot. It tells you a lot. So you know what? I haven't been reading the chat, and I'm about to. Ruby says, amazing topic today. I hope people who have had this difficulty speak up on this. I agree. View says, even people from India change their names to regular names, especially when their names have every letter in the alphabet. Yeah, I know people I have some friends, and Asian friends, maybe they're from China, maybe they're from Korea, and they'll change their name. They I can't say a Korean name, but they change their name to John Woo. It'd be some simple name so they can get accepted by society. And some of my friends have said, my normal name, I wasn't going to get hired, and they didn't want to talk to me, so I had to change it. And we act like we don't discriminate, but we do discriminate. We got messed up when we started calling our kids Aquinette, Boomquisha, Zaretta, and etc. So what do you mean by that, Pam? How do we get messed up? Can you explain that to me so I understand? And I would love to hear your thoughts on that. Ruby says, ultimately, it's ignorant and ridiculous to judge people by their names. Clearly, they didn't pick the names, but I'm really not surprised it happens. They are horribly threatened unless you conform. Yeah, I agree with that. Listen, a lot of times people try to establish a culture, and I'm not. What I mean by that is they want a identity within a culture. People still want to be unique, and they want to be a monolith group within a culture. So we know that we're discriminated. We want to congeal with our differences to become our own group, and we don't want the other group to ostracize us for our identity. But people want one amalgamation of people. They want a big melting pot. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with people connecting. However, when you defeat people's uniqueness, when you tell people they can't be original, something is lost. I know some people that when they get older, they change their names. I know a lot of people, because you know what, ego and being oblivious to stuff is hard. Most people are soft, and even me. I mean, we can be hurt by external circumstances. Not me, I'm pretty oblivious, but I think that it's hard. It's hard for a lot of people, and you could be easily broken up or broken down by not being accepted, by being different. When I was growing up, I fought a lot, and but I think I had a strong parents, and they let me be me, and I never wanted to fit in that much. So when some of my friends started gang banging, and they was like, yo, we about to be from the set, you're gonna be from the hood. And I was like, well, that's stupid. Why the fuck I want to get beat up to prove somebody I can fight? For what? Am I gonna get paid? It's pointless. So I didn't get it. But a lot of brothers, they wanted to be from the hood. They wanted to be known as little kick your ass, little I don't go to school, little put put in the work, and that's that peer pressure and wanting to fit in is a powerful thing. And I think a lot of Black people overall want to fit into America. They want to be a part of America. They see you wearing a business suit and going to work and getting handshakes and driving a company car, and they want that. And that's kind of image is I don't want to say image is everything, but perception is real powerful. And a lot of people want to fit in. So, you've heard other. Okay, I gotta go in. Sometimes I try not to use people's names, but I have to. I've heard like Kevin Samuels says it. If you guys never check out his thing, he's a great YouTuber, but he talks about image and how powerful image is. And it's true. You can construct the image in people from the way you dress, from the way you operate. They see you. And I think name can be so powerful of an image. That's why you even people that are not Black, you have people that's white or Jewish, they change their name. Didn't Stan Lee have a different name, but he thought it wasn't going to be working for him, so he changed his name? It's a lot of people. Did Tom Cruise have a different name? Didn't what's his name? It come to me. I can't think of his name, but he made Nicolas Cage. Wasn't his name something else? So a lot of people, they change their names. And so it's not, Black people got ostracized the most, I would say, when it comes to names, because once you can identify a name, you separate people. But I don't have the answers. I don't know a lot of stuff, so I'm not here to tell people what to think. But in general, I think that I would love to hear dialogue. You know what? This is what I'm saying, because I don't say this much. Anybody who is here, be sure to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I will take a thumbs down. See, that way I know people are watching and viewing. And me, if you don't know, I'm all about love. I can get a little passionate, but I'm not one to ever really try to make people feel pain. But people feel pain. It's a real thing, and we need to have dialogues about it. And my girl Nikki, she did, this was her thing, and so let me go ahead and maybe she want to talk about it. She asked me this, and I was like, okay, you know what, I gotta talk about this. I got so much stuff I gotta do, but sometimes I get caught up in living life and eating well. Let me tell you, I gotta go on a tangent real fast. You don't get caught up by advertisement, because a lot of times advertisement is false. I went to this waffle place, and I didn't enjoy it yesterday. And it was overpriced. And that's the end of that. Sometimes you got to stay on the target. Somebody get back to target. But people who just joined me, I don't know who's it. I don't. If you want to hop on, you know what? I think I was going to just email people, but I'm kind of lazy. It takes a lot of work to email people. I think I'm pretty good. I'm gonna just drop it in the chat. I'm gonna drop it like it's hot. And if you want to come on and talk some nonsense to me, I don't care. I don't really. I'm not like most people. So go ahead. Come say what you got to say. I want to know why our ghetto names are hindrance to the employment of Black people, and I want to know how other Black people feel about people with ethnic names in general. Anybody. If you're not Black, if you're white, if you're of the term I hate, if you're of a other minority group, you're really the majority group. So when it comes to minority, we're talking about power. So if you don't have the power, you're part of the minority. And we do know that a group, see, that's code. Damn, I just got smart for a second. Do you not know that's code when you say you're from a minority group? That's code to saying you don't have the power. And that says a group who is part of the majority. And what is considered the majority? Sorry, white people. So that means that it's really code for power. And I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not really on this subject a lot. That's not me. I'm not that. But I don't mind having this dialogue, because it's a dialogue that we've got to admit, does any other group fear the police or any other group of males fear the police like Black men do? And even though we need more Black police, why do so many Black people not want to be police? I mean, when I got out active duty, when I first got out, I have a neighbor that was a cop. He was like, yo, you come and join the force. And I was like, no. And why was that? Because I didn't want to be a part of the system that might put my brothers in jail. And that's what I thought. And I'm not opposed to police. I just didn't want to be a part of it, because sooner or later, I knew you were going to be put in a situation that would be, you had to either go with the group, that you work with, which is the police, or you can protect your community. And I'm a community first type of guy, and I wouldn't have lived too long being a police officer. Some people that are better at holding that line than me. Me, I have a really bad temper, and I'd be dead most likely. But I'm pretty disciplined. I didn't die in the military, but the military never put me against my people. So it was just, and it wasn't. it created a sense of unity where I could get along with other groups. So I've learned to love other people due to the military. But I never forgot where I came from. And I never forgot that a lot of my brothers are in prison or are dead. And a lot of them, due to lack of nurturing, due to the system, the policies that are in place, don't even know how to function in a normal society. And most people are institutionalized, but they're institutionalized for real. So it's crazy that when you're institutionalized in the brain, when you're institutionalized in life, when you're always in a prison that is your mind, it's hard to escape. So if anybody wants to hop on and have a dialogue with me, feel free. We can do this. I don't care who you are. I would love to hear any group, anybody, whatever they got to say. Why do you don't like Black ethnic names? I don't care. I don't care who it is, and we can have a dialogue about it. And this is for men and women. Hey, who I don't know who joined me. I think it's Brother Terry. What's going on, TK? What's going on, brother? Feel free to speak. I give you the mic whenever you're ready. Just feel free to speak. So can you hear me?
I'm only just here like 3 or 4 minutes on like a couple of minutes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you use those type of names at the job and all that and try to be the badass and everything, it makes you look bad. And remember, we're in the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? So Black people already looked upon on being bad. And so we had to go ahead, try to change the ways we got to do to become more professional with our lifestyles and everything. And one thing is using like names in proper ways and stuff like that and make yourself look top notch and professional, not going the M route, going the Black people route. That's the best way to go. You know what I'm saying? And by us not merging as one, everything is just screwed up. So they could feel like they could do what they want to do. And I mean, when people see that type of behavior, I mean, jobs and businesses, they get completely turned off. I have ways to come professional with folks. And when I do things professional, everything works. I got a lot of businesses and things are starting to go on now. So I have no time for the drama anymore. You know what I mean?
I got to ask you some questions because I'm just a little confused. So how does, like, okay, I was born, my parents named me John Quasia. You know, I'm a woman. My name is John Quasia. How is my name unprofessional? I didn't choose it. So should I change my name? I'm confused, Brother Terry. Can you elaborate on that for me?
I mean, this way you got a middle name, something you can use that or use that differently. But here's the sad thing. We should be able to use our full names correctly. But sometimes, too, these jobs have these racist moms. So certain names they look at as one big nigger. I hate to put it to you this way.
But that's cool. You can say what you want to say. I'm not knocking that. I'm just asking. See, but that's my whole point. We have a society that does discriminate, that they do categorize people by groups. So is that right? That's a question. Do you think that is right to do that?
I don't think it's right at all, but it's a part of society, and we're gonna live in America. This is something we have to tolerate and deal with. We're gonna get somewhere in this country until you're able to get your own business and be able to hire your own people.
Okay. I understand your point of view. And I respect it. Myself. I dislike it. I think that I would want to change policy and I want to change people's minds. I don't think it's going to happen. I think you're right. Until you can control the hiring process, you can't force people to accept you. I'm one, and I totally agree with that, but I think it's wrong. I think that you should accept people for who they are, but I would more likely accept it if people say I discriminate. Just tell me that, so I won't frequent your company. But we should learn to read code. So many people speak between the lines, and they think it's sad that a lot of Black people, not that your mindset is wrong at all, but it's sad that we even have that mindset that I can't use my real name. If my name is whatever, Obama Hubba, I got to cut out and call me Obi, call me Bam or something that's more acceptable. That's what's crazy to me. Brother, I really loved hearing your thoughts. And if you have anything else more to say, feel free to speak.
So what you got to do is come professional as much as you can. Like you come clean shave when you want to go get a job, you want to get business, you got to start somewhere. Then when you get built up to the point where you can do everything on your own, on yourself, then you can show your ass. That's all. Get the purpose done first. And after the purpose is done, then show your ass. That's all I'm going to say. I'm getting off.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, brother. Please check out Brother Terry's page. He's trying to do it on these YouTube streets, and no matter if I agree with somebody's view or disagree, I still want to hear what they have to say. So I don't know who would like to join, but you can feel free to talk to me because I'm different than most people. I'm not going to. I'm gonna listen to you just to see where you're coming from, and once I hear your thoughts, I'll ask you questions, but you're never wrong with your thoughts because they're yours. I can disagree. I can think they're wrong, but they're not wrong for you. They're your thoughts. And I would ask you why. Why do you feel like that? If I owned a business, if I owned a business where I could hire people, which of course I can. So I wouldn't ever discriminate. I don't care if your name was Zoolander Martian with the pink lips. I would still hire you. And I say, hey, tell me who you are. But I know that I would lose clientele because we live in such a conservative society. Like now, so many people that are going to stop buying Nikes just because Nike promoted Colin Kaepernick. And I'm not here to promote or to go against anything. I'm just saying he was kneeling in protest to violence done on Black people. And because of this, we all know the president's stance. We all know overall what the NFL feels. And people, a lot of people, when they say they don't want to hear politics, really what they're saying is we don't care about any other person's suffering. I just want to enjoy the moment. And they're not wrong for that. However, it tells you that no matter what you believe, we live in a world where politics will always be discussed. And even this topic, even though I don't always delve into politics when it comes to what party and your views on things are, this is still a political topic because it's all about power and control when you think about why you don't want to hire somebody for a name. And there's a reason why. Let me go back and read because I got to get back in the chat. Say, I really want to know the answer is directly like, do they assume they're going to be terrible at their jobs, or they're blocking a certain demographic, etc.? I think that it's both. I think that even though people hate to say it, Ruby, a lot of people don't want to hire people that are not from the right group or a group they are opposed to. And I think that a name can denote class, and people don't want to hire people that are classless. So, okay, it's funny. People want to be unique, and you can have a name that's common, like Jamie, but you might want to spell it Jaimie, some different way. And if somebody sees that on an application, depending on where they're from in their life, think, well, that's classless, and they toss it to the side. And that's such a sad state that we live in, that due to a name, due to the way your name is, it means that you're not part of the team, and we will ostracize you. And that's crazy. Pam says, I honestly think it was, we have one Black and we don't want any more. One Indian, one Black, and of course one Asian. That's funny. I'm just reading. Okay, Ruby says, I agree with one thing. We are all seen as a group. The second we all decide not to be ashamed of our hair, names, skin tones, etc., and feel no desire to conform, they have no choice but to change. That's true. Or they can choose not to do business with us and we can separate. But the problem is, how are you going to separate, and where are you going to separate to, and how are you going to do it? And that hasn't been worked out. Now, there's smarter people than me. There's more educated, more wise people than me that probably have plans in place. But the problem is getting people to work with the group. Man, I can't get three brothers to put $100 a piece a month to get something that's beautiful going on. People want to do what they want to do, and most people, even though they want power, aren't willing to do the things that it takes to have power. And it's so difficult to unite people along those lines. Pam, that's what you know. What it won't be today. I'm gonna schedule it Thursday, maybe Saturday if I got time. We'll do the one you said about hair, because I so much I want to do, and I try not to just get myself caught up in one thing. So, hey, Ruby, feel free to speak. I see that you're here, and you can jump in anytime that you want, whenever you get a
Right. Good morning.
always a great morning to you. We're getting sucked into the singularity now, to the point of convergence. I'm ready to hear what you got to say. Go for it. Speak.
Okay, well, this is my thing about it is, the previous guy who was talking, I think he's right about one thing, and I think we all know that, is that when they look at us, they see one big nigga. That's it.
Yeah.
So we need to understand at the end of the day that we are being not judged by the best of us. We are being judged by the worst of us, and we're also being judged by the majority of us. Um, so that is to say, the way I see it is this: is it a travesty that we're going to sit there and be judged by our names and be denied employment and stuff like that? Obviously, yes. But I think what we need to kind of do sometimes collectively as a group is decide whether or not it's something that we want to have representing us. And then, if so, the only way you can normalize something, the only way you can fight against it is for you to not conform and for you to fight those little battles for the people who are being denied work and so on and so forth and being judged differently. Ways that you could test that, for example, would be submitting the same resume with two different names at the top and see if one of them gets a call back and the other one doesn't. Because as the previous guy said, well, you could use your middle name. So you use your middle name on one, you use your first name on the other, and see if you get a call back for one but not the other. And start kind of building a case against certain big companies and go after them. And you could fight this. The question is, do we want Watermelon Drea and our ability to name our kids that to define us as a group, as something that we want to be able to do? In the same way that, for example, we should want to be able to, and we should love being able to just wear our natural hair, be the skin tone that we are, have the noses and the lips and the whatever that we have, and that's okay. We're not going to be, discriminated against or, denied anything as a result of the fact that my natural hair that grows out of my head is how I'm going to walk into the office on Monday, because it doesn't change my natural abilities. Neither does your name. But do we want, these names and the spellings of them and whatever, do we want that representing our community? Or do we want to maybe make a change with that? Like, I think we need to decide that as a community, and then we need to band together to either fight it or to change it within the community.
Okay, so let me ask you some questions, because this is interesting. How do you get a community to band together to talk about it? Like, what type of forum would you do? How would you implement that?
Our community doesn't really band together to do anything as one mind and one voice and one action. And that's the problem. So, you kind of, I think when it comes to at least fighting things, you have to find a group that's already making noise and already affecting some kind of change, even if we don't necessarily like the changes they're affecting, and get them to fight that battle. But, again, I think it's about numbers. If you get a Facebook group and that Facebook group gets 50,000 people, but if it gets 1.5 million people following it and speaking on it and whatever, okay, well, then there's something that people start opening their eyes and noticing, not because they care, not because they want to stop being racist or stereotypical or whatever, but just because they're worried that 1.5 million people, that could make a stink.
I understand. Me, first, I love natural hair, and I wish more women would wear froze if they can wear froze. But I'm not opposed to anybody doing anything that they believe makes them feel beautiful and wonderful. I'm all for that. However, what I am opposed to is self-hatred. I don't want people to hate themselves. There's so many people hate themselves due to they want to fit in. If you all you see is certain imagery of certain groups, then you want to be a part of that group because you want to fit that mold. And I think it's a lot of stuff I want to talk about. That's also how they're trying to make obesity become the new beautiful standard. And if you want to be obese, that's on you. But for you to try to force a group or force people or women in general to want to be obese or to say that this is beautiful, I can't really condone that, but I'm not opposed to individuality. So it's a lot of things that we need to work on. So let me ask you some more questions, Ruby. What do you think? Why do you think people come up with unique names? What do you think the purpose of that is, from your perspective?
Well, I think and it's something that you see a lot with Black Americans, is, you're kind of in this country that you didn't come here by choice for. But at the same time, you think about everything from slavery to Jim Crow, to, the lack of civil rights and all of that. And so now you have this community at the end of the day that says, no, listen, not only do we have the right to be here, but you know what? We don't have to conform to them. I want to stand out and not like from the crowd necessarily with my kids versus the other kids in, my neighborhood, but I don't want to sit there and name my kid John or whatever because that's what the white folk do, because I'm not white. I'm Black and I'm proud and I'm going to name my kid whatever I want. And so then you got this trend of, especially in certain groups of, areas where everybody named their kid something original and different and whatever. And, you can tell when you see certain names on resumes, you can tell that is a Black woman or that is a Black man, because in general, other demographics don't do it. And I think that it was literally to set themselves and their child apart as we're Black and we're proud. And I think it was kind of part of that. And I think I do think it got a little bit out of hand. But with that being said, again, just going back to Watermelon Drea, just because I remember it from, the Raven thing. And now there's this dude who does a character called Watermelon Drea.
Mm-hmm.
If I saw that on a resume, I might be like, seriously, watermelon? Like, ooh, seriously? But I wouldn't sit there and be like, oh, well, you know what, that's it, not employing this person. This person clearly isn't intelligent, or, this person's from the ghetto, so whatever. Because even if they are from the ghetto, even if they're from the worst of worst places and they're sleeping in their car and they've been between jobs for 5 years and whatever, that has nothing to do with whether they can perform this job well, whether or not they're, intelligent enough to get these tasks done, and hard work and diligent enough. You don't really know. So I would be looking at the resume regardless. But Watermelon Drea, like I was telling a story in the chat that there was this girl, and so her name was pronounced Shatid, but it was spelled shithead, literally.
Sorry.
Like, right? Dude, you set that girl up to fail. Like, it's not fair. And so you wanted an original spelling of the Shatid name and whatever, and okay, but like, did you read it? Did you think? Did you hate her daddy, and so you wanted to do, like? I don't understand why you would do that to your kid, right? And there's a point where your right to originality and free expression doesn't infringe upon your child's rights. I feel like a little bit like you named your baby shithead.
Yeah.
I don't care how you said you're supposed to pronounce it. Every time someone reads that name, it reads out shithead. It's yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So
you just hurt my, I do a lot of sit-ups. You made my stomach cramp.
Yeah. Right?
Oh, that's funny.
How do you take that seriously? Like, it would honestly, on one side, now that girl, she probably has a really hard time applying for jobs just because people probably think it's trolling. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is some bullshit, shithead Jones or whatever. Like, whatever. It doesn't look real. It doesn't look serious. No one would have the name shithead. That's crazy. But that's her name, even though that's not her name. That's not how you pronounce it. So I can see her having a massive problem, just because honestly, it doesn't seem like it's a serious applicant. And I don't mean judging her or whatever. Like, it literally looks like someone was running a joke and submitted that.
Yeah, that's crazy. But this is something I do notice though. When people become celebrity, especially the really open out there type celebrities, the artistic ones, they always give their kids crazy names like North or Bottom or what's the Bruce Willis daughter's name? She got a crazy name too. I can't think of it. but
I don't even know anymore.
or
Like,
yeah, but I think it's rumor. I think it's rumor or something like that. Rumor or something. But see, does it? Is there a different acceptance when it comes to class? When it comes to unique names, is it more acceptable for somebody of a high social class to come up with a unique name than it is for somebody of a low socioeconomic class? What do you think?
is it more acceptable?
Yes.
No, but the difference is they're not being judged by the same standards, and they're never going to have the issues that those of us in the middle class and lower are going to have. They're not this she's never applying for a job. You know, these kids of these multi-billionaires, they're never applying for jobs like the rest of us and having to sit there and apply to schools, and we're just another nobody in a long pile of other nobodies. They're not going to have those challenges. So you know what? Their parents can name their kids whatever they want, and it's not going to really impede the kid, because at the end of the day, guess what? Their last name is still Willis. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I think it's just crazy because okay, this is my belief, and you can chime in anytime you want. But we have a people have a see. Pam said it in the chat. It isn't fair, but it happens. But people have a perceived uh, vision of life being fair, and they're quick to say that something is wrong. And because most people don't have uh, a lot of control in their lives, one thing they can take control of is naming their children. And then they, even if they, like you say, hurt their child, they still say that life is fair and you got a chance, not understanding that life isn't fair, not understanding that the way that you name your child, due to us not having control of the society, due to other groups not having power, will limit your child in life. And I don't think too many people are aware of that. And that makes me think, because I discriminate. But one thing that I do say, am I wrong for thinking how the group would think? Like I try not to like be mad at somebody named Watermelon Drea. I try not to be mad at somebody named Lollipop Williams, but I'm like, damn, why would you name your kid Lollipop? That's messed up. And then I'm laughing at their name. That's painful. So what I don't understand is how come people don't understand life is not fair, and I wonder how many people really don't understand the need for political power and to start to. Okay, let me ask you this, Ruby. Do you think that most parents, when they name their children, think that they're hindering their lives?
I think honestly that they don't. I don't think that they're thinking that far ahead. I mean, in many cases in general, especially if you're having young parents, teen parents, stuff like that, they're not really thinking about the baby as a human being that they are producing, that is going to need to be born and raised and grown up in this world and be successful, hopefully more successful than them, and it's their job to make that happen. I don't think that they really think it through. Whereas you think about, for example, immigrants, and someone mentioned this in the chat earlier, that immigrants come here and they change their names. And they have their Chinese name and then they have their American name. And the parents do that for a reason as soon as they come here. And as much as we don't want to feel like we have to conform on every angle to get by in America, at the end of the day, setting your kid up with just a name in and of itself, they know adds to a pile of things that they can do for this kid to set that kid up for success. So I don't think that, again, especially when you're going with the young kids, I don't think they're thinking it through at all. Because I think if they did think it through, those names wouldn't be so wild and crazy. And I think that you probably find in a lot of these cases, while the first and second kid, when they were really young, might have crazy, crazy names, I think that, if they have kids later on in life, those names are probably maybe still original, but less like out there.
Yeah, it is. Eyes Misunderstood said something, and I just want to say, she says, I'm assuming it's she. I've met so many strippers named Diamond. And I'm sorry, I think Diamond is a beautiful name, but there's certain names that just have a negative connotation to it, a negative stigma. You know, you name your daughter Princess and middle name Diamond. I think she's she's gonna be a stripper too, and that's sad. That is extremely sad. And my question is, I don't know if this is going to be a good question, Ruby, but maybe you can break it down for me. How long does it take for a name to develop a negative connotation? I mean, I probably there's no accurate answer, but why do certain names become seen a certain way, from your opinion?
Well, if you take like a linguistics course, sometimes a psychology course, depending on how in depth it goes into language, language already has inherent meanings inside of our brains the second we hear certain sounds. I can't remember what the two words are. I think it's like boomba and kitsi, and they literally gave one shape that was like blobbish and round, and then another one that was really jagged and hard, and they said, okay, name the shapes. These are the two names. You have boomba and you have kitsi. And everyone took boomba and put it with the round, soft looking shape, and everyone put kitsi with the hard, jagged shape. So we already naturally, inherently, it's just built in, associate certain word sounds with certain things. So I think as far as that goes, we naturally already have just this response to names based on just literally the way they sound. And there are some names that you can hear and they sound almost melodic and fluid, and they almost feel calming. So when you hear that name, you're like, hmm. And then there are other names that are a little bit jarring feeling. And, you get this feeling that they're maybe aggressive or, something like that. And then, you think about a name like Charles, Charles gives people the idea or impression of someone who is, strong and a man and traditionalist. And, there's things that we just automatically assume with names. And I don't think you have to even experience them first to get an automatic impression. But in the cases of, again, going Watermelon Drea, uh, what did they associate that with? Ghetto black. With Ming Young Soo, what did we associate that with? Chinese, right? So, I mean, there we already know names that sound, or assume names that sound a certain way are going to be attributed to a certain demographic. A friend of mine, he's a black man, and his name actually is Takahashi.
Wow.
Sound like a black man to you? No.
Oh,
Does it sound like a man who's maybe half Japanese and half black, maybe because his dad's Takahashi? And yeah, maybe. No, both of his parents are from Trinidad, but they named him Takahashi. And, no one ever called him Takahashi. Everyone called him Tak. He hates his name. It was the burden of his soul that this was his name. It doesn't describe him. It doesn't bring to mind anything that would be him as a person and whatever. His parents heard it and thought it was really cool, and that's what they named him. But what do you think when you hear the name Takahashi? It's not a black man, that's for sure, right? Probably
yeah.
guy might think he's good at math or science. Maybe he's an engineer type. He's probably for sure not the sporty type. He's not, strong, masculine type. Like there's a whole bunch of associations we're going to give to that. And I don't think that we think about that as much. We think about names that we like, names that make us feel good when we name our kid that. We're not thinking about how it sets up the kid. We think about how, oh, I'm so original, I'm so different, or, oh, look at, I love listening to that name. I wish that had been my name when I was younger, or whatever, right? In my case, my name is so boring and typical and white, and I hated my name. So, when I started picking names for my kids, which I started doing like in the fourth grade, um, none of the names were boring and white and original or
Hmm.
and unoriginal. All of they had to be original, but they had to sound pleasant to me. And I invented a name which actually exists. I didn't know that at the time, but I invented it in the 5th grade. It only hit the baby books, spelt exactly the way I spell it 2 years ago, because I used to check every year. Yeah. The name is Ian. And I really I loved it. I know Iana existed in the baby books for a long time, but Ian, spelt the way that I spelled it,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't in there. And, Malachi. And, and then, so Ian, I thought about the nicknames as well. So she could be called Aya, which I
Mm-hmm.
think is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And Malachi, he could be called Kai, which I think is so cool. So, I thought about all of that and the sounds and whatever. I didn't think about how that was going to set them up in life.
Yeah.
I have no idea how people take the name Malachi or the name Ian and what they would think about them. It's just, I love those names.
Mm-hmm. And that's me. If you know me, I think I got a real big heart somewhat. I'm a butthole, but I love people, and I hate to see people suffer. But I think that when you're oblivious to other people's pain, like on a big level, and you start thinking, well, they got the same chance I got, we don't see that sometimes people don't have the same advantages and people need help. I am of the same mind as you, and a lot of stuff I the professor, Mr. President, Cerulean Gray, he always talks about getting people to work together. And I understand his premise, but I still ask questions to hear other people's point of view. So I don't know who's watching, but my page is always open. If anybody wants to hop into the dialogue, I will post the link in the chat. And of course, today's discussion is why are ghetto names a hindrance to employment of Black people? But we can talk about anything. It doesn't have to just be Black people. We can talk about names in general and or whatever goes under the sun. But I really like this topic because I think that this is a topic that needs to be had. And let me read some stuff from the chat because I like to read what people say. Pam says, talking about names, I just like when people shorten my name. I'm always correcting people. I don't want to be called Pam. Okay, well, I would say Pamela from now on. You tell me that. You should have corrected me 5 years ago. I'm joking. But so Pamela, how do you feel about other people's names? I'm just joking. But anyway, Pamela, I'm gonna start saying it from now on. Pamela. Anyway, I wish that we lived in a world where names were not a hindrance. I wish we did, but since we do live in a world where names are a hindrance, let me ask you this, Ruby. Do you think that people should conform? Do you think that people should change their names to fit into society? What are your thoughts on this? Or should people have let's say I was game banging, and I got a gangbang name that only my homies know. So that my homie gangbang name is Little Kick Ass, but in the real world, my name is Craig. So should people do stuff like that? Tell me your thoughts, Ruby. How should they go about conforming or fitting in with society, or should they just not and stay outside the box and say, "You gonna call me Little Kick Ass from CC Gang"? Your thoughts, Ruby?
Okay, do you mean socially or in the workplace?
I'm talking about in the workplace because we're not talking about people can do whatever they want to do, but just in the workplace, should people go about changing their names to conform to get hired? I mean, because I know you can just use your middle name, but I'm saying should they make up well, however you want to take it? Because I know you can extrapolate really what I'm asking, but how should they go about it? What should they take? Because sometimes it can be conflicting. I want to fit in, but I want to be me. How should people mitigate that? How can they manage that? How can they make it so they can be accepted by society, but still be unique in themselves? Your thoughts?
Well, I think it depends ultimately on what your goal is. So, is your priority to stand up and say, no, I disagree with discrimination and I'm proud of my name and I wear it proudly? Or is your goal to get that job, that career path by any means necessary? Because unfortunately, we can't change the reality of the world tomorrow. We can't. And again, as you said, Cerulean brings up a lot the fact that we need to organize. Every problem almost that you bring up, he brings up organization. And I remember at the very beginning on the BGS streams, I used to get really frustrated by that. I'm like, you just give the same answer. But, working through it myself, yeah, you start here at point A, and by the time you get to the core, what's the core? You need to organize. We're not going to organize and fight this, then it is what it is.
Yes.
So if you are happy going along to get along, and changing your name or conforming so that way you can get that job and get that career because that's what you work for and that's what you want, and you don't care whether or not these people are racist or have major stereotypes, and they're going to treat you as the exception and whatever, then do that. If it matters to you, if you don't want to be treated in a way that, basically, yeah, again, you're the token, you're the one who's the exception, and these people are really racist and stereotypical, and it's going to bother you to be in an environment where you hear and see that happening a lot. It's more important to you to stand for, Black first, then no, don't change your name. Don't allow them to change your name unless it's a nickname that you're comfortable with. And in that case, when you get employed, you might not get the same career path that you wanted. You might not get the same position that you wanted. You might have to start 10 times lower than you would have if you had just changed your name. And you might have to work 10 times harder and be 10 times more perfect than if you had changed your name. But that being said, that's what you're taking on if you're choosing not to conform, because that's what they're comfortable with. They're comfortable when you conform. So, the lighter your skin is, the narrower your nose are, the smaller your lips are, permed hair that's long and silky, and, the makeup and the name. They're comfortable when you conform. So the more you conform to what they're looking for and expecting and whatever, the more you're telling them, hey, I want to be part of white society. I admire white society, and that's my ultimate goal. So I just want to fit in with you guys. Please accept me. The closer you get to that, the easier they're going to allow it to be. So it's just about the fight that you want to have.
I understand. I'm about to go on a tangent, but this is hopefully it's going to be on topic. I'm talk about the power of media and marketing and success to names. In the 80s, especially in the middle 80s, two of the biggest stars, or three of them, it was Mike Tyson, it was Michael Jordan, and it was Michael Jackson. And for a little bit, I never said anything to my dad, but I was like, damn, Dad, I love the name Charles, but why you didn't name me Mike too? Why gotta be Charles Mike? I had a friend named Michael, and I was like, damn, man, you lucky, you Mike. And that just tells you how powerful trying to fit in is. I thought Mike was like the coolest name ever. I wanted to be Mike. I wanted to slam dunk and moonwalk at the same time and hit you, I be dribbling the ball, swinging at you, talking about, oh, beat it. No, I'm joking. But that's crazy that trying to fit in, trying to be popular, trying to be accepted can change your thought process. And that's why so many people, when they grow up after, their parents, oh, your name's going to be so beautiful, I'm going to call you Pretty Flower. But when you get to be like 17 and all the girls named Denise are getting the dates, you want to be called Diana, like Pamela said. I want to be called Diana. I want to be Wonder Woman. So it's crazy how media can change so much. Media can make you feel like, wow. So, I can imagine people try to end my name. Okay, I'm not real gay. But anyway, I wish that we knew how to accept differences and let people be unique. But since we can't, Ruby said the same thing that, Mr. Professor Cerulean said, if you are opposed to something, you need to unite. You need to get together, a group, and become one monolithic force that can affect power and change. But until people can learn to do that, it's going to always be situations like this. Brother Beasley, I see you there. Can you speak, brother? You've been sitting here. You haven't said anything. Do you want to chime in? Is your mic working? Or are you going to be a Benz advertisement? Buy a Mercedes Benz. Come to Charles's page. You can just give them free advertisement. I'm not monetized. Don't let Mercedes come on here and get out that free advertisement. I'm joking, man. I'm joking. So
Well, if I could just say something in regards to what you said, though,
Go ahead.
another option, which it seems like no one's a super fan of, but is definitely an option, is why not take the degree you got and the training you got and all of that. And if you want to just not be judged by your name and to be treated differently and whatever, why not bring all of that back to your community and start your own business or join a business that's already within your community? And instead of trying to go to white America and bend white America to your will, why not just build Black America?
uh, I think people are with that, but I think people have first, black people don't trust other black people. Second, most people don't even know how to become part of a business. And three, I keep going, people live in fear. So let's say I see a business and I say I want to be part of your business. Uh, they don't want to split any profit with me or let me donate to them or let me have any say. So they keep their groups relatively small and low, and it's hard to get in. It's hard to fit in, and it's hard to find people that want to work with you. I'm always about working with my brothers and doing business, but the problem is finding like people. Everybody wants to be the boss, and when everybody wants to be the boss, things don't get done, and people separate so easily because when you got people who have A-type personalities all trying to work together, it's hard, and finding that mix is difficult. That's just my
But see,
belief.
that's the problem right there, is that if you go to apply to work for the white company, do you know what you don't try to do? Be the boss on day one.
Yeah.
You're going to go join their company. You're an employee. This is not a cooperative, and you're not doing them a favor. They
Okay.
are doing you a favor and giving you a chance by hiring you. But for some reason, we will see that as, well, I'm doing you a favor, and this is a Black business, and I'm smarter than you and I should have some say about this. No, you shouldn't. This is employment like any other job. And what we need to stop doing is thinking to ourselves, listen, unless you started that business or you started that business or you've been working in that business forever and worked your way up the ranks and whatever, Black business is not lesser than white America's business, right? This company is not lesser than white America's company. And the person who owns it and your manager and whatever, they're not lesser than authority figures. They're not lesser than, important. But somehow or another, we have a problem. And at the end of the day, we need to, it's kind of like that concept that people talk about where you go into a business and it's a Black owned business and you're like, all right, great. Well, I'm going to get the brother or sister discount. No, why are you getting a discount? You know what I mean? I'm selling to the Black community.
But let me
So
go. Continue.
mhm.
Continue. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, you're selling to the Black community. So as a result, no, you don't get a discount just for being Black. You know what I mean? There's no brother assisted discount, whatever. This is the discounted rate is the rate that I'm selling it to everyone for my brothers and sisters, because I'm opening a business for us. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to circulate funds and get funds circulating back into our community. That's what I'm doing for everybody. And I think it's along those same lines where, okay, well, if I'm going to lower myself to work for a Black company instead of going to work for one of the ones that are going to be successful or are super rich or whatever, like the white companies, well, then you know what? I should have some say because this is now a cooperative, even though I walked in 2 seconds ago and I did none of the planning or building or hard work to get it here.
I understand. So this is my problem. Or I shouldn't say a problem, but this is the problem. Is that most people don't want to. Okay, struggle. So okay, I go work for Ford or I go work for Boeing. They're going to pay me anywhere from $60,000 to $100,000, give or take. I'm just hypothetical. Black man from around the corner is going to pay me $30,000. Yeah, I'm getting back to my community, but I can't survive off of $30,000. And so I decided to come work for you, but I feel like I'm getting underpaid. So and I think I can do better because I'm comparing your business to Ford and Boeing. And I think that is the problem, that when you can't really compete with the greater society when it comes to employment or financing or even in economics, meaning that your ability to trade products are not on the same par, you have less Black people that are going to be willing to make a sacrifice to support the community, and that becomes a problem.
See, but no, the problem is though, sorry, but
go
at the
ahead.
end of the day, and here's the problem, is you're right, Ford does pay more money to start. But hey, guess what? I bet you if you could get that job at Ford, that's where you'd be working. So you're not going to get to work at Ford. You're going to get to work at somewhere that's probably going to pay you 30 grand to start as well, but it's going to be a white company, so therefore it's better. We need to stop sitting there and comparing our small businesses and our businesses that are just starting and in their infancy and growing with companies like Ford or IBM or whatever, because yeah, the company hasn't gotten there yet. But that being said, if you could get a job at one of those companies and that's the job that you wanted, I'm sure you applied. I'm sure you tried it. I'm sure you didn't get in. So now what you want is now you're going to come back to the Black community and say, hey, you owe me because I'm coming back. Nah, because you know what? There's a good chance if you're comparing things to Ford level, it's because you applied there because of the salary that you'd be starting at and they didn't take you. And so now you're looking at all your options at 30 grand and you're saying, hey, well, you know what? You're doing basically what white people do, where they come to our community and anything they do for us, they act like it's a favor. It's not a favor that this company is going to employ you. If you don't like the starting rate, you try to negotiate your salary. That's what people do. If this is the firm's starting rate and that's where it's at and you don't like it, go work elsewhere. If you can find better rates, then great, find better rates. But at the end of the day, there's unemployment going on. So do you want a job or don't you?
I understand your premise. However, I have not been watching Insecure this season at all because they took out Lawrence, but I still look at the reviews that BGS says. So he was talking about how Molly left the white firm to come work for the Black firm, and how Molly was comparing her Black firm to the white firm, and how she felt that it's like she was kind of low. She wanted to work with her people, but upon coming to work for her people, I got to go back and listen to the review again because I'm just going off of my memory right now. She was saying how she was talking to her therapist, and I think she was talking about how can I make changes or take over. And then the therapist will, instead of trying to run it, why don't you see how you can help? So I understand your point of view, but I'm using that Molly situation to illustrate how a lot of Black people may feel if they choose to come work for a Black business, especially if they have had success. Because I understand when you say, well, most likely you couldn't get a job before, but let's say you did have a job before and you decided to come back and work for the community. That's usually the problem. People want, because they feel that they're bringing something, they're offering something, they want to be in a dominant position. And you're not wrong. I totally understood your thoughts, Ruby, but I'm saying I believe hypothetically a lot of people have that thought process, and I think that's why it's so hard to get so many people to come work for the Black community, because they feel that we have that this is less than, and I'm not going to be equal to, and I can do better even when they can't. And I'm not saying it's real or false. It could be for some people, but I think they have those thoughts. You understand what I mean?
No, I totally understand that. I think at the end of the day, though, it's the equivalent of people who work for those Fortune 500 companies and realize that it's literally taking their soul. And, they want to do something good for the world. So they decide to go work for a nonprofit.
Yeah.
It would be the equivalent of you doing that and saying, well, hey, since I threw away my $100,000 a year job, you guys now owe me.
Yeah.
No, nobody owes you because you made a choice for something that you wanted and you needed for yourself.
Yeah.
No one begged you, please come, please help us, please save us. Now, if someone did that to you and came to you and said, listen, we need you to come and save us. Like, honestly, we're not going to survive without you. So then you threw away your $100K a year job to come and work there. Okay, you're right. Do you feel at that point then you deserve a say and so on and so forth and whatever? Absolutely. Terms you should be negotiating before you throw away the $100K a year job. Mm-hmm. But if it was a choice that you made, you probably made it for internal reasons. No one is going to compensate you, and no one should be compensating you for a choice you made for yourself.
Totally agree. I totally agree. This is such an interesting topic. I don't know who's watching, but if you're watching, feel free to give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down. If anybody wants to get involved with the chat, I would love to hear their thoughts. I think what I think, but I'm always willing to listen to someone else. I would love to hear my brother Benzo, my brother, on here with the medallion is just floating, but he's saying nothing to speak. But maybe your mic is not working. Are you there, brother Beasley? Are you there? I want to make fun of your name. Who named you that? I'm joking. But anyway, I think that no matter what, we as a group of Black people in general, we need to find a way to work together, and we got to figure out together what we are going to do. Or for anyone that's being ostracized and they feel that they don't want to conform, the only way you can do that is to work together as a group. If you don't make the laws or you don't have any power, you're going to always have to conform with what's in power. If you, the person who makes the laws and enforces the laws, makes the rules. So even though people may not agree with it, some people just want to fit in. By all means, if you want to fit in, fit in. However, if you're opposed to being oppressed, if you're opposed to conformity that doesn't seem natural to you, then you need to find like-minded people who think like you think and work with them. However, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There is most likely somebody who is thinking along the same lines as you are, and you need to find a way to get involved with those groups. And this is all a learning game for me. I'm always about learning, and I love to hear what other people have to say. So if you have anything that you want to say, feel free to say it. And if not, I will resume the conversation with the singularity, the unicorn, the Canadian classic, Ruby. So, Ruby, tell me this: how far can you go with a name where it can still be acceptable? What makes a name unacceptable? Like, that's something that's kind of perplexing to me. I understood you say how certain words make people feel, but certain names to me aren't crazy, but they're looked at like, what makes a name okay? Let me go on with this, like a gender specific name, like, but some words, some names are uh, uh, ambiguous. Like when you see a man named Michelle, we look funny at that. Correct? I know you say yes. So, what makes a name considered unacceptable overall? I went all over the place, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to ask you. Correct, Ruby? Help me out here.
Well, and I think that's the thing. This is part of the problem is that what's ridiculous here might not be ridiculous elsewhere. You go to France or Quebec. Michel is the French version of Michael. Lindsay is a man's name in, was it Scotland? Scotland, yeah, Scotland. And they think it's ridiculous when they come here that girls are named Lindsay because their girls really aren't. So, names are relative. And with that being said, you go to certain countries, you're going to find certain names are really, really common there. And then, you come here and they're oddball, they're one off. So, ultimately the norm is what that society is going to deem acceptable and deems to be common. And, to not be too far of a deviation off of common. So, you take the name Jennifer. Okay, Jennifer, then you get Jenna, Jen, Jenny. Uh, those all basically sound the same. They all register in our head basically as Jennifer. That's something that's really common. So it's acceptable. If you get Jenna Quisha New, you're like, that now at that point doesn't feel like a name because in this country, there's maybe Jenna Keisha. You might be able to get away with that. It would still sound really black, but then you add in the last syllable, do, and you're like, that seems off to us. The way that certain names sound, they sound off to us. Or if you're adding in words that, again, watermelon, that we recognize as being separate words, our brain reads that word. And then we realize there's a whole bunch of things added before or after that and whatever, and then it appears ridiculous to us. So part of the issue is that you can try to change the new normal, and try to make it seem like, okay, well, this is something I want to popularize here, and hey, sometimes it takes off, sometimes it doesn't. But when you think of certain names that are really common and there's no necessarily negative connotation to them, for example, Sheldon, Damien, Jermaine, they're not, there's no negative connotation to those names. They're not crazy names. No one invented those names and made them crazy or whatever, but yet we'll associate them with Black society. So there's still an association there. Why? Because those names are really common in Black society, especially in certain generations. Whereas in Jennifer, Jesse, uh, Michelle, those are white names. That's what people think when they see it on a resume or whatever. So
Becky.
yeah, oh, Becky, Rebecca. I don't know one Rebecca or Becky that's Black. I really have never in my life met one. So I don't know, but I think that's the thing. It's like, how do you like for example, there if you look at the trends, there will be times where a name is almost invisible in our culture. It doesn't exist in North America, and then suddenly it'll become massively popular overnight, and suddenly everyone's naming their kid that name. Well, in 10 years, that name is now so prevalent in those few generations that it becomes normal. Before that, it was really original and different and strange. But now all of a sudden, it's so common, like you hear it everywhere. Like that happened with the name Jennifer, that happened with the name Jessica, where literally at one point, no one was named those names. Now everyone is. Whereas in, before you think about the name Harold, um, or naming your kid Richard and calling him Dick. Those were normal things before, right?
Yes.
Even if someone names their kid Richard, no one calls them Dick anymore. It doesn't happen, right? Because Dick now means something else in our social cultural norms.
I
So,
look that up.
yeah.
When did that happen? I love to meet a Richard. I be thinking, hey, what's up, Dick? I be thinking that all the time in my head, but I say Rick just to be nice. Hey, but
Oh
let me make
yeah.
it. I have.
My vice principal was named Dick McKee. I
Oh,
remember
that's
that, and I
funny.
remember when people would call him Dick McKee. I thought they must be saying Doug, right? No,
Yeah,
Dick McKee. Yep.
yeah. So I have met a black Rebecca, and you know what? She had good hair, so they called her Becky with the good hair. I'm sorry.
Really?
Oh, that's funny.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
That's funny. Becky with the good hair.
Oh my God, look, did this really happen?
Yeah, yeah, I did. Yeah, and now it's a saying for white ladies. They call her Becky with the good hair. So I wonder if she starts. She don't say, "Don't call me Becca no more." Don't call me Rebecca. That's hilarious. Oh, so let me ask you this, Ruby, analogous to this. I think a lot of people discriminate, but why are so many people afraid to admit that they discriminate? Why do they want to act like they're so socially conscious, so socially aware, and that they don't see differences? Why do people do that when in all actuality they do see differences? Give me your thoughts.
Well, I mean, some of it is actually bias that they have that they're not aware of. So, I mean, we even have biases that we might not be aware of about certain things. There's a test. What is the actual term called? It's called, I don't think, well, it's not called subconscious bias, but that's basically what it is. You have these biases built in. You don't even realize that you have them, but you respond to them, and they do inform your decisions. But I think on another levels, when you think about things like bias and discrimination and stereotypes and whatever, I think a lot of people think to themselves, those are really bad things. I don't want to be a bad person. I'm not a racist. And so they compare themselves to the KKK. They compare themselves to white nationalists. They compare themselves to people that are really extreme. And so because they're not doing that, they therefore must not be biased. They therefore must not have stereotypes that they conform to people and whatever. But the simple fact of the matter is that as humans, we were literally built to categorize everything. And we categorize everything all the time. So, and categorization is the same thing as stereotyping. For
Yeah.
example, because if we didn't do it, we wouldn't be able to function. So, for example, if I were to wake up in a strange room on the floor and I'd open my eyes, the first thing I would know is that I'm lying on a floor. Doesn't matter what the floor is made out of. It could be made out of a substance I've never seen before. It's still a floor. I've categorized things that I walk on, things that are underneath my feet. And, you know, when gravity pulls me down, that's the thing I'm standing on. That must be a floor. The thing directly above me is a ceiling. You know, I will see a chair in the middle of the room and I know that's a chair. It might be in a strange shape and a different material again, but I know it's a chair, right? So, and we don't even think about these categorizations. We just move through the world and we just automatically know what things are. That's a door, that's a this, that's a that. And because if we didn't do that, again, we'd have to sit there and wonder and think about everything that we encounter every single day if it's a little bit different. So I think because we already do that, there's nothing built into our brains to assess and evaluate people who look completely different than us. Because it was really unlikely 10,000 years ago you'd bump into someone who had different skin and different noses and different hair than you. And if you did, they were likely a foe.
Okay.
If you did, they were likely someone you should kill. Get out of there because they're probably there to rob you or to kill you or whatever because people didn't mix 10,000 years ago. Just like it's unlikely you would meet someone who doesn't speak the same language as you. So
True.
after about the age of 12, that language learning mechanism in your brain turns off. If you haven't learned language by the time you turn 12, you will never be able to learn spoken language. It's impossible. Um, so I think it has a lot to do with that. We evolved 10,000 years ago. It's the last time we had evolution pressure on us in that way, to categorize things, to stereotype things, to trust things that look the most like us, and to distrust anything that doesn't look anything like us. So a lot of these things are built in, and now we're living in the 21st century in this society, and so we are being socialized in certain ways, sure, but that socialization is not limited to even maybe what your parents taught you or whatever. We're watching TV. We're, you know, listening to songs. We're seeing random people on the street and, you know, we're hearing what our peers are saying and whatever. And all of those things come in and get into our brains because we're supposed to learn things and then store them in our brains for later. And even though we don't realize maybe that they're stored, or we do realize that they're stored, we don't necessarily see them as a bad thing because we're not programmed to see them as a bad thing. Now, if you push and push and push and push, eventually those things come out. And then people see those things in themselves. And then they'll go, yeah, but I'm not a racist. It's just, and they'll justify it. They'll try to, well, but anyone would see it that way. Well, yeah, no, but like I'm not saying anything about this, and they try to justify it because, you know, they know racist is bad, you know, stereotyping is wrong, you know, everyone, I should love everyone like my brother and sister, and if I don't, then there's something wrong with me, and they push all the actual thoughts and feelings and truths that they have down because they don't want to be seen poorly by other people.
Yeah, I totally agree and understand. And even though we've started co-mingling, we've had hundreds of thousands of years of seeing everybody else as the enemy. So it you can't expect your nature to change as fast as your environment can, and that's what people don't understand. It's a crazy situation. And
Mm-hmm.
hello, beautiful T. I hope that you're doing wonderful. I see she's writing in the chat. She said hello to everybody. I think it's a lot of stuff I don't understand, and I want to have more dialogues. I want more people to talk, and I want more people to be honest about it. There's nothing wrong with prejudging. There's nothing wrong with stereotype. It's something wrong when you hold a judgment against somebody. We live in a society today that you have enough intelligence to see if somebody's going to do you harm or good. But what I was going to say, I came back in my head. In the internet, you get to see people's real thoughts because even though they have faces that are hidden, you can tell how much hatred and vitriol and how much people quickly assess people real fast. And you know, this is a shameless plug on my Patreon. I did I do a lot of thoughts, and I put one, why to you can't judge somebody in 10 seconds, but it happens. It's somebody who's going to tune in to this right now, and they're gonna think Charles hates everybody that's not black. But that's not true. I love people. I just love black people. So it doesn't mean I can't love you, but don't think I'm not black. But I'm gonna probably lose a lot of subscribers who watch videos like this, because if they one day they're gonna catch Charles being, I love you all, I hope you're all great, and then they're gonna hear another video talking about my people, and then I'm like, God damn it, what's wrong with this dude? I thought he was one of us. No. I'm not one of you. I'm one of me. I'm black. I'm sorry, but that's what I'm saying. You're going to see how much hatred people have beyond that computer screen where I can't see and touch you. But in real life, they would never say something that's offensive. I try to be me all the time, but no matter what, you can't get all of me in 10 seconds. So it's going to take you some time to see what type of person someone is. And unlike most people, I can speak about anything and I can speak to anyone. So I think that makes me different. So I can speak to somebody who hates my guts as long as they speak to me civilly. I can speak to somebody who's diametrically opposed to my philosophy on life as long as they speak to me in a civil way. Everybody can't do that, and I'm not telling people to do that. However, I think that's what makes me kind of good in my brain, but horrible, because you're not going to get one thing. You're going to get a lot of different things from me, because everything is interesting. I wish we live in a world where we can all love each other, but before that can happen, you got to learn to love your own group. And if you can't get your group in a power situation, people will never. Did it freeze up on me? No, it didn't. I'm always thinking it's freezing up, but that's just my thoughts. Ruby, you feel free to speak, because I was about to get frustrated. I thought my computer froze. I was like, oh, I thought I was gonna have to destroy it, but it didn't. So what's going on, Ruby?
Not much. Like, I think at the end of the day, we just have to realize where we live, uh, and that life isn't fair. And like I said, this is where it comes down to, I do think organization is so important, because I think we need to choose our battles. And I don't mean, that's not to say that if we choose a battle, the rest of the battles aren't important. That is to say that if we are scattered all over the place and we are only, 10, 20,000 of us at a time are fighting for any one issue, um, nothing's going to get accomplished. And that's where I said, like, we need to decide, is this an issue we want to fight externally, or is it one we want to fight internally? And how do we want to do that? Do we want to support our right to, name our kids whatever we want, no matter how, out there it is? Or do we want to maybe give some type of conversations to our own people about, hey, yeah, be original and so on and so forth, but just remember that you're hindering your kid. Another thing, like a thing that Jamaicans do, for example, which I've always thought is hilarious. So, especially old school ones, so ones that are, say, over 40, over 50. When you meet them, they'll tell you their name. This is the name everyone, including their mother, calls them from birth, but that's not the name on their birth certificate. So their name on the birth certificate, like my grandfather, for example, his name is Kernard, but everyone calls him Dennis. I didn't even know that he had a different name. Or, people will call you Kitsy when your real name is Sheila, or whatever the case is. So there are other options if we want to both simultaneously kind of set our kids up to work inside of this society as it currently is. If we're not going to fight this issue, then we can always name our kids one thing, first name, maybe name, because I mean, like with my grandfather, Dennis isn't in his name. They just like the name Dennis. That's what they call their kid. But you could either make, say, Watermelon Drea their middle name, give them a name that is more, America friendly, and just call them by their middle name all the time. Or you can just, as Jamaicans, you just call your kids whatever you want to call them, regardless of what's on their birth certificate. So, I mean, there are all kinds of options that you can kind of do to work around this issue if that's something you're interested in doing. But, one of the issues I think that we have a lot of times is that we'll say, yeah, but it's not fair and they shouldn't do it. I don't think anyone disagrees with you. I just think that at the end of the day, when you see so many people from so many different ethnicities, so many different countries coming here and changing their names, and that's been the standard. We're not just fighting something that's about us. We're also fighting against something that's about a lot of other people. And everyone else is doing it and nobody else minds. Now, yes, they're immigrants and, you're not an immigrant. You're not even, really stunned from an immigrant family. Okay, I get it. But with that being said, nobody cares that it's unfair. They're all going to say on the surface it's unfair, and then they're going to do whatever the fuck they want anyway. So, with that being said, you know, if you're gonna say, yeah, but no, I have the right to name my kid Watermelon Drea, and you must hire her. You can say that. Good luck enforcing it. Good luck proving that just got laughed that it got laughed at and then thrown away automatically. You can't. Um, and that's part of the issue. And so I think we need to start thinking a little bit more critically about some of these issues and recognize that, yeah, this isn't fair. I agree 100%. You can't. This is one of those issues. I don't see how you're really going to be able to police it. Even if they can instill all the laws they want, I don't know how you would really police this and make sure it happens. And ultimately, like I said, you're fighting a battle that no one else is fighting.
I totally agree with you. I think that as parents, you really have to make decisions that are going to be beneficial for your children. I think that more people should take into consideration the life of their descendants. I shouldn't say descendants, but ancestors, whatever term it is, the people that come after you. So if you don't do that, it's not going to be well for your genes. So that's kind of scientific. But I asked you that question earlier, Ruby, and now you choose the answer. I'm joking, but that's my thoughts. I think that I agree with you. If you don't, if you can call your child something in private, but that could be just the family and friends name, and then give them a public name. That way, you can keep your uniqueness. Life isn't fair. People are not going to hire you. People are not going to always let you fit in. Things are going to happen. So what you need to do is figure out a way where you can navigate through society. If you don't make the rules, you can't play the game. If you want to win the game, you make the game. That's just my statement. And for anybody who joins, thumbs up, thumbs down, it matters not. I would love to hear people's thoughts. Ruby and I have been going at it, but I wish more people got in and say their views, but I know it's not going to happen. Ruby, I don't want to hold you up too much more longer. My brother, Benzo, came up just to advertise Mercedes-Benz, but he didn't say anything. So I get it. That's called a silent troll. But I'll always let you come on because even your silent troll is good.
Well, I thought he was going to say something at some point. I was really looking forward to it, but
me too. I'm gonna next time he hops on, because I know he's gonna hop on again. I'm gonna heckle him. Maybe his mic broke. But if your mic broke, he should just got off. But I understand he's just advertising. That's all it is. I got you. It's good. The best one he's ever did. So you got any? I'm about to end this, Ruby, because I can't get people to join. I mean, it's gonna be just you and me just going back and forth, and I could have just did a Ruby interview. That's what maybe I should have did that. But you got any final thoughts? Anything you want to say before I end this?
Nope, that is about it, I think, for that topic. I will be on LMP's channel this evening answering some questions he sent me. So if anyone wants to check that out, and I will be on Brother X tomorrow evening at 9:30 p.m. EST. If you want to check that out as well. That's about it. Just shameless plug.
Oh, plug yourself all the time. I don't mind. Yeah. I'm gonna just have fun and I'm gonna say some stupid stuff now that's gonna be off topic before I end it. I just have fun coming on. Everything is about love. I don't care what people think. I think every dialogue needs to be discussed. And even if you agree or disagree, I love to hear your point of view because that's how we learn and we grow. And I don't have all the answers, but to get answers, you need to talk to other people. And if I can't come up with, like, I may not be that intelligent by myself, but with other people, with the group, with you, I can improve my intelligence, and we can pretty much come up to a solution to almost any problem as long as it can be calculated. It sounds geek, but I'm a geek. So if people have never been here, if you're tuning in or if you're leaving, give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It matters not. I appreciate all people who come and stop by, because you don't have to stop by for a minute. And I'm honored for any type of interaction or altercation that may occur. That's just my thoughts. So for everybody who came by, I want to say thank you. I had fun. I wish I need more people so I can have more dialogues. People are you scared of me? Am I scary? I'm like unattractive. The people don't want to come hop on and say crazy things to me. Cause I let you speak.
No, I think it's just everyone's at work because it's,
I'm
the
joking.
middle of the day and stuff. And otherwise, I'm sure a lot of people are really very sad that they're not here. And they
Oh,
wish maybe even that you had held it later so that way they could jump in and
oh,
whatever. So,
I'm,
yeah.
I'm joking, Ruby. I don't really care. You can always catch it in the replay if they watch it at all, but it doesn't matter. I'm still happy. I'm happy as hell talking to you. You're always fun. I'm always learning from you. Man, you make me want to go study.
Thank you.
Anyway, I really appreciate it, and hopefully I can catch you later. Listen to Mr. LMP or on the Prophet of Thought, right? You test tomorrow at the BGS. I don't know. You be on so many different things. I got to follow you. I got to start stalking. I'm joking. All right. Have a great one. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, from Brother Beasley. I'll catch you again, brother. This has been a good one. I enjoyed everything you said. Everything that you didn't say, I got it. All right.
We got the message loud and clear.
I got it. I appreciate everybody. I said it like so many times. Shameless plug. Check me out on Patreon. Listen to some of my dumb thoughts. Give me a thumbs down. Tell your friends, share me, like me, or don't. It's all good. Have a great day, people. Take it easy, Ruby. You're fantastic.
You too, and thank you. Likewise. All right. Cheers, y'all.
Cheers. Beer time.